We continue now at the top of Daf Mem Aleph Amud Beis in Meseches Nedarim. This is Nedarim Daf 41b. The Gemara continues with the statement of Rava on the previous Amud. Rava said that if not for the fact that a fever was an agent of the Malach HaMavis, it could actually be beneficial. Kechizra ledikli, it would be like thorns for a bush. The thorns, they surround the dekel and they protect the fruits. And similarly, the fever could actually have benefits for the body. It can protect the body from the infections or from whatever is attacking the body. And the Gemara says, Chad l'tlasan yom, and the fever would be good. If you'd have a fever once every 30 days, it would be like a way of cleaning out the body. V'chi tiraiki l'gufan, and similar to an antidote for poison for the body. And the Gemara continues, Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak says, Lohi v'lo tiraki, I don't want it. I don't want its antidote. I prefer not to get the fever. And the Gemara continues, Amar Rabba bar Yonasan, Amar Rav Yechiel. Rabba bar Yonasan says that Rav Yechiel says, Arson yafe lechola l'refuah. So arson is good for a sick individual in order to heal him. And the Gemara says, my arson, what exactly is this arson? And the Gemara gives several explanations. Amar Rav Yonasan says, Chushla desari atikta dereish nafya. It is old, hulled barley from the beginning of the sifting process. Amar Abaya says, Bayon bishula ke'ein bisr detura. This barley requires cooking like the meat of a bull, meaning it requires that you cook it a lot. And the Gemara continues, Rav Yosef Amar Rav Yosef says, what is arson? It's smide desari atikta dereish nafya. It is fine flour that is ground from old barley, again at the beginning of the sifting process. And again, Amar Abaya says, Bayon bishula kebisr detura. It requires being cooked like the meat of the bull. And the Gemara continues, Amar Rav Yochanan says, Boredom ein mevakrim vein mazkirin shemo. If a person has the intestinal illness of boredom, we don't visit that person, and we don't even mention the name of that illness. And the Gemara says, my time, what is the reason? Amar Belazar says, Mimneshu kamayan hanovea, because it's like the person is flowing that illness, that intestinal illness. It causes a person to bleed a lot from the intestines. And the Gemara continues, V'yamar Belazar, and Belazar says, Lama nikra shemo boredom. Why is that disease called boredom? Shu kamayan hanovea. Again, it's because the person is flowing, the blood is coming out. The idea is like bor dam. It's like a pit of blood, like a pool of blood is coming out from the person. And the Gemara continues at the two dots. The Mishnah said, Umrapeyu refuas hanefesh. It said, let's say you have a situation of a mudar hana, so in such a situation where one person cannot get benefit from the other, so you can heal the person a refuas hanefesh, but you're not allowed to heal him a refuas mammon. And the Gemara now says, Hechi Katani, what exactly does the Mishnah mean? The Gemara says, Ilema de refuas nefesh bechinam. If you're going to say that refuas hanefesh is when he heals the person for free, and refuas mammon bischar, and refuas mammon refers to when he heals the person for payment, so then, lisni hachi, so then the Mishnah should have said as follows, Mirapeyu bechinam, he can heal him for free, avalo bischar, but he can't take payment. That's what it should have said in terms of the mudar hana. So rather, the Gemara says, Ella, rather, what does the Mishnah mean? It means as follows. Refuas nefesh gufo. Refuas nefesh means that he's allowed to heal him. He can heal the person himself. Refuas mamon behemto. And refuas mamon means, in terms of healing the person's animal, that is not allowed. And the Mefarish explains, Refuas nefesh gufo shemchola hamadir muter lemudar l'raposo. Let's say the situation is that the person who made the neder, he becomes sick, so the person who's really not supposed to give benefit is in fact allowed to heal him. Kedamrina le'el, like we said earlier, delo adrim in chiyuse. He never made the neder to include things that keep him, that to sustain him and keep him alive. That the person is allowed to do. That's not considered a benefit that is prohibited. However, Refuas mamon behemto, Refuas mamon refers to healing his animal. Shemchalsa behemto, if his animal becomes sick, asur l'rapos, it's also for the other person to heal the animal, mishum to kamahani, because then he's giving him benefit. And again, in the case of a mudar hana, benefit is going to be prohibited. And the Gemara continues, Amar Rav Zutra bar Tuvia Amar Rav. Rav Zutra bar Tuvia says that Rav says, Aval Omer lo, even though he's not allowed to heal his animal, but he could say to him, Sam ploni yafela, Sam ploni ralo. The following thing would be good for the animal, and the following thing would be bad. He's allowed to give him advice. That is not considered to be a problem. And the Gemara continues with the Mishnah, V'rochitz imo ba'ambati gedola. Let's say you have a situation of a mudar hana, still he can bathe together with him in a large bath, avalo bekatana, but not in a small one. The idea over here is that in a smaller body of water, so when an additional person comes in, it's actually a benefit. It raises the level of the water, it makes it warmer for the person, but when it's large, there's really no discernible difference, and therefore it's going to be okay. It's not considered a benefit. Similarly, v'yashin imo b'mita, the Mishnah says he can sleep with him in a bed that is not not considered to be a benefit. But the Mishnah continues. Rabbi Yehuda says, "B'mos hachama." He can sleep with him in a bed in the summer season. He's not benefiting him at all. Avalo b'mos hagashamim, but not in the rainy season, not in the cold season. Because there it is a benefit. He's bringing the person additional warmth. Umesiv imo alamita, he's also allowed to recline with him on the bed. That's not considered to be giving him any real benefit. Va'ochel imo ala shulchan, he's allowed to eat with him on the table. Avalom and tamchoy, but not from the tamchoy. The tamchoy is a situation where they're all taking from the same source. There, the issue is that if he's eating together, so the balabais is actually going to increase the amount of food because more people are coming. Avalochel hu imo min tamchoy hachozer, but it is okay to eat with him from the tamchoy hachozer. Tamchoy hachozer means that the tamchoy is going to go back. There's so much it's going to be refilled by the balabayis. So there, the fact that he's joining in is not going to cause any increase and not going to cause any benefit. And the Gemara says, Tanya, we learned in a Tosefta, lo yirchatz imo bambati, he can't bathe with him in the bath, v'lo yashin imo b'mita, and he can't sleep with him in a bed, bein gedola, bein katana, it doesn't matter if it's a large bed, it doesn't matter if it's a small bed, divrei Rabbi Meir, that is the opinion of Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Yehuda says, gedola, if it is a large one, b'mos hageshamim, and if it's the rainy season, it's still okay, because there's no benefit. O katana, and even if it's a small one, b'mos hachama mutter, if it's the summer season, if it's the hot season, it's mutter again. He's not providing any benefit. Rochetz imo, and he could also bathe with him ba'ambati gedola. If it is a large bath, again, that's not considered a benefit. Umazia imo bekatana, he's even allowed to go into a sauna with him in a small area. That's also not considered like he's bringing any benefit. Avol meisiv imo alamita, he is allowed to recline with him on the bed. That's not considered a benefit. V'yochel imo ala shulchan, and he can eat with him at the same table. Avolom enatamche, but again, he can't do it from the platter that is being served because that will cause that there's going to be an increase. He's increasing the amount that the other person will be able to take. But he is allowed to eat together with him from the tamche, from the platter that's going to return. And the Gemara explains, as we explained in the Mishnah, Rabbi Yossi Bar Chanina says, we're talking about the platter that returns to the balabais. In other words, everyone's going to leave over food. It's going to go back. There is sufficient food, and therefore it's no benefit to the other person if this individual joins. And the Gemara continues with the Mishnah, Lo yochal imo min ha'avos shalifnei ha'poalim. He can't eat together with him from the avos, from the bowl that is placed before the workers with food. The Mefarish says, Kli gadol shenosin bo balabayis yurakos. It was a large vessel that they put vegetables in, sha'ochlin bo ha'polim. The workers all eat there together, yachad together. Umisham tam de tamcho. It's the same reason as the platter before. If the person eats together with him and he leaves over some food for him, he causes in some way that there's an increase of food for the other individual. That's going to be a problem by a case of mudra hana, because he's giving the person benefit. And the Mishnah continues, V'lo yase imo bu'uman. He's not allowed to work together with him in the same row if they're working the field. Divrei Rabbi Meir, that's Rabbi Meir's opinion. The Chachamim say, oh, so he is allowed to work in the same row. He is allowed to work in the same field. V'hu barachak mimenu, as long as he is a far distance from that individual. And the Gemara says, Bekarov lo pligi da'aser. Everybody agrees to work close to the individual. That is certainly aser. Ki pligi berachak. They're only arguing when you're working at a distance. Rabbi Meir savar gazrinan rachak mishum karov. Rabbi Meir says we make a gezeira. It's even a problem to work at a distance because you might come close to kamarapi lo lara kamena. If you work close together on the same land, on the same earth, so you're actually softening the earth for the other person. That's bringing him benefit. That's a problem by mudar hana. And Rabbi Meir makes a gezeira when you're far away because of a case where you might be close. Rabbanan savri lo gazrinan. And the Rabbanan say we don't make a gezeira. If the person is far away, it's not going to be a problem. We'll continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Mem Beis Amud Aleph.